Good day, viewers. You're welcome. You're welcome to NOA River State Dialogue. The Dialogue is a weekly sensitization program of the National Orientation Agency, River State. The elections may have come and gone, but the echoes are still very much around with us. It is generating comments here and there. By the way, if I may ask, I hope you went out to perform your civic responsibility. Did you vote? If you did, you just taking a step in the right direction. However, this is the truth. In no distant time, all the elected officers, the chairman and councillors, will be sworn into office, and they will settle down for the business of governance. Now that brings us to our topic today: grassroots governance and the expectations of the people. Now, to discuss this timely and all-important topic for today, we have the State Director of the National Orientation Agency, Barrister Young Ayotamno, on my immediate right. You're welcome to the dialogue, sir.
It's my pleasure to be here, viewers.
And on my immediate left, I have Comrade Tomiye Saturday. He is the coordinator, National Mandate Group, River State Chapter. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Now, quickly, we want to take it off with the State Director on my right. State Director, sir, the elections have come and gone, like I said, but the echoes are still here, there, and there. Can you give an overview of the election, a general observation of the election, sir?
Thank you very much. The election in reference is the local government elections 2021 that took place on the 17th of April. That is just about a week ago, approximately. Last week Saturday, and the elections have come and gone. Certainly in every contest there will be winners and then there will be losers, and the general echo is that those who win in an election should also carry those who lost in the election along. Generally the impression that was given in terms of the election is that this time around, that what is usually associated with elections, especially key context of the election, was not actually there. And that is because either some of the parties or one or two of the parties, in fact the main opposition in the states, did not take part in the election. At the beginning, the signs were there that they were going to take part, but following a national directive which later became a policy of the party, citizens were told that the party will not be contesting the local government elections, of course for reasons that are best known to them. Those are political and we don't intend to dig deeply into them. But however, we are not also comfortable, because for us in River State, this is like a midterm election. A total of 17 parties actually contested the election, and one thing that we keep telling Rivers people is that those 17 parties that we say high kudos to them, we say kudos to them. And why do we say kudos to them? For us, like I've mentioned earlier, this is a midterm election. They have given us an opportunity to also know how prepared they are. In fact, that they are present in the states. So, and as an agency, we use elections like this to assess voters' behavior, to assess the popularity of party in the states, and to also assess how prepared the various institutions, including the regulators, are. So for now, the elections, it has come and gone, and certainly in every context, especially when it has to do with election. Election is like sports. There are rules that regulate the election. Just as you have in football, you have in boxing, sometimes you hear technical knockouts, sometimes you hear teams being overworked. Sometimes you can see semblance of that also in the elections. So it has come and gone. Certainly people have taken the laurels, those who won, take it that way, they have taken the laurels, and at the end of this present tenure, because the present chairman, they are still there, the regulators of the election at the appropriate time. The regulators of the election will round off. What we expect from them again is that if there are allegations, that those allegations should be attended to. If there are grievances of these parties, that they should be attended to. Incidentally, like I've mentioned in some other forum, that the Judicial Service Union, that's JUSUN, they are not there because election cases oftentimes end up at the judicial level, and that is where we know that everybody at the end of the day will have some form of respite and satisfaction. So that is one thing that we are not seeing in this election. But there is generally, we are told that there is generally apathy, and when we also monitored, we saw some semblance of it, which could be as a result of low enlightenment and sensitization, which for us could be attributed to a number of factors. The fact that the main opposition party in the state was not contesting, people felt that the context, as they saw it, that the context will weigh in a particular direction. That is one. Secondly, the fact that we are operating under a regime, COVID-19. We are operating under a COVID-19 regime, and it has its own protocols, barring the fact that people should not hold large gatherings, even though some of the parties were also holding these gatherings. But as government agencies seized with the power to do political enlightenment, we did not see the need to violate, so we had to use other platforms which are not really mass sensitization platforms. We have to use platforms like the social media handles to put our messages across to them. And then also for the parties too. In terms of the parties, we also expect that there should be mass mobilization, mass enlightenment, and these things were not there. So generally, some of these things may have affected the voter turnouts, including the approach maybe which the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission had adopted, because we didn't see outside town hall meetings that they had initially. The only one that we saw subsequently was more of media. So that is how it went.
Congratulations, sir. Can you add to what you have just said from your own perspective? You know, the overview of the election from your own perspective in just a few minutes. But
Okay.
before you take that question, viewers, you can send your comment, participate by sending your comment, your questions and contributions. We are here because you are there. Thank you. So, Comrade, can you add to what the state director just said? Your own, from your own view.
Elections has come and gone, and politics is all about who wins and who doesn't. Those that have won should be congratulated. Those that lost should also look for avenues to work to better the lot of the society. Over the time, we've seen a shift of paradigm where politicians see it as a do or die game. Those that win, winner takes all. Those that lose will fight and fight dirty, rubbing themselves on the mud. I think everybody that contested has a purpose for which he or she contested. If all this can be brought together, create a synergy between those that won and those that lost, I think our society will be better for it. There was voter party as said by the state coordinator, but the elections actually has come and gone.
If I understand what you said, it shouldn't be a winner takes it all. There has to be a balance created, carry those that even did not win along, so that it can be all inclusive. Now, let me go to the next question. If you ask an average person on the road, why the local government? Everybody knows, they will easily tell you that the purpose of local government, the creation of local government, is to bring governance close to the people. Yes, we know it's to bring governance close to the people, but that statement seems vague. What are those specific functions?
the
What are those specific roles and functions that local government ought to play when you say bring governors close to the people? Because the same governor that seems very close to the people seem to be alienated. They are very far. Most times they don't know what is happening. So, what is that specific role the local government, are created, to perform?
we're talking about creation of local governments, right from the 1976, 1978 reforms that we had. Starting with the Dasuki reform, those reforms that came up, you will know that the local governments, particularly, one, we are talking about the issue of good governance. We are talking about government that is closest to the people, government that can take the needs of the people and attend to these needs. So the first and foremost thing is that the local governments are created to pursue inclusiveness of citizens in the governance of their own affairs and to make the citizens feel the impact of government. Now, going forward from that point, the local governments, primarily, their functions are in the first schedule of the Constitution. If you go to the first schedule of the Constitution, their functions are spelled out. Functions such as the building of markets, functions such as the maintenance of cemeteries, functions such as the provision of public conveniences. The functions are quite many. If you go there, you will see these functions clearly spelled out for them. And that is why we also expect that part of their function is that they should be able to generate some income. We have issues of tenement rates at the local government levels, and when these tenement rates are generated, it is part of the internal revenue base of the local government. Even constitutionally, the state government is supposed to contribute a percentage of the internally generated revenue of the state as the local government areas. These are some of the functions that the local governments are expected to perform. Some public works that ought to be done at the local government level, maintenance of public infrastructure at that level of government. But these are some of the things that we have not seen with some of the local government
Actually doing these things.
Um,
Are they actually carrying out this function?
in a nutshell, most of our local governments are like a contraption of those that are at the leadership within the state and the federal government. In fact, most of our local governments don't, and our leaders in the local level doesn't even know why they are elected. Most of them feel that what they get is just for settlement of what they've done over the years. You will see where a tout or someone that is not educated, someone that doesn't know anything about governance will be elected or selected as a local government chairman. What do you expect such person to do when he doesn't know actually what functions are assigned or are set aside for local governments to carry out? Most of our local government chairmen see it also as where their life starts. Basically, you will see a local government chairman, once he's elected, he goes on to take loans to buy houses. He goes on to take loans to marry new wives. He goes on to take loans to buy expensive cars, forgetting that their roles and functions are streamlined by the constitution of the nation. Most of them don't even know that they are supposed to clean up the cemeteries. Most of them don't know that they are supposed to build roads. Most of them don't know that rural electrification is their responsibility. Most of them don't know that they are supposed to participate in bringing healthcare to the people. Most of them don't know. As if a person doesn't know where he is coming from, obviously he might not even know where he's going to. So if you leave them without sensitizing them, they will begin to see it as a settlement. And I think that's the mindset of most of our elected chairmen, the settlement mentality, whereby they see it as, I don't work for Oga has settled me. This is my settlement package. So I need to take it to build house first. I need to take it, at least if I've not traveled abroad before. This is an opportunity for me to travel abroad. So we need to, the civil society needs to wake up to its responsibility by pushing these people to do what they are supposed to do. And I think this particular aspect, on this particular aspect, the civil society has failed. So the civil society should be up and doing. Let there be checks and balances. As the director said, most of the local government chairmen, not most, very few of the elected local government chairmen actually are doing what they are supposed to do. I give kudos to them. I wouldn't want to mention names, but very few of them have laudable projects that can stand the test of time. I say to them kudos, and I believe I want to thank the executive governor of Rivers State that such persons, he returned them for second tenure. A payment for good work is more work. So as they have been returned, they should not see this second tenure as a retirement package. They should do more, because for whatever good thing you do, there is a pay at the end. Maybe tomorrow, it might not be today, it might be tomorrow, but people see your good works, and your good work will speak for you.
You just said that a lot of elected officers see it as a compensation, master servant compensation. That takes me to this question now: do the citizens really have a right? Do they hold their elected leaders accountable? Do they ask questions? Do they know that they ought to? Because this thing is a social contract. All of us cannot be there. It is held in trust for you and me, the rest of us. And so they ought to ask questions. They ought to hold their elected officers accountable. Are they doing that? No. Why? Sir,
talking about the issue of accountability, I think it is key. It is key in our engagements, particularly our engagements in governance. When the leader of National Mandate Group was talking, he said he thanked the governor for returning some of them. And I think that is where I differ a little. It was not actually the governor, even though we know that for a state where the party is the ruling party, that the way it is conceived now, that the leader of government in that state is the party, is the leader of the party. Having made reference to that, I think those that returned had the endorsement of their parties to return. And if they have the endorsement of their parties, and from your own framework, one of the things that you said here, you asked if the people really have a say, and that everybody cannot be there to represent us at the same time. Government is contracts. It's a contract with the people. One thing that we usually don't understand, and that is why the issue of voter apathy is painful. Part of the reason for voter apathy, we can also infer that it has to result from the issue of poor performance by the leadership at the local government areas. And so people did not actually see anything at all about anything so special about going to vote again, thinking that the same set of people will come back. But now talking about it generally, talking about what we are addressing here, I think the people, accountability should be pursued. It's a multi-dimensional thing, or a multifaceted thing. He has mentioned here that the CSOs, that the civil society organizations, should hold the people accountable. The most constitutional part of this accountability is the fact that we are holding election every 3 years, every 4 years. And so it is where things are properly done and where elections are properly done. That is the period the people hold their leaders accountable. Because if you did not govern well, the most important tool to effect this accountability is a permanent voters card, which we encourage every person to have, because it is personal to you. It informs the decisions and the choices that you make in any election. So currently, there are institutions for effecting this accountability. The state assembly it appropriates on the budget of the states. Even at the local government level, why we have councillors is that the councillors will also, that is the legislature at that level, the councillors will put a check on the executive at that level. We also have, for our local governments now in these states, we also have the judicial department of council headed by lawyers. So we expect that all these people should put their acts together, and that the people, that's the electorate themselves, will also make contributions at one point or the other, that they should make contributions towards this issue of accountability. But accountability is seen to be at a serious discount, because people don't seem to know that they have this power to hold their leaders accountable at intervals.
Accountability seems to be at a discount. At this point, let us take some comment from our viewers. The first comment here is from Bekimo Williams. Voter apathy witnessed in so many polls units due to lack of trust in the electoral process. Voters also took it as one-man affairs. They took it as one-man affair. No other, contestants. In all, voter education from the elected body was zero. Local government election is encouraged for competition, should be encouraged for competition in the future. Comrade, what's your reaction to this comment? He said there was, voter apathy, and it was due to lack of voter education. Do you agree, or what's your comment? What's your take on this?
I will not totally agree with him on that. Because of COVID-19, so many things, so many paradigms were shifted. The normal was not observed. The COVID-19 brought about a new normal in our society. Before now, you see large gatherings and sensitizations and what have you. But in this particular election, what I noticed was that people were first, people were not willing. They feel it's a one-man show because that led to apathy. But for the sensitization, I think RISEC did their best, because they were on air, they were on social media, they interfaced with the local populace. I remember there were security meetings held in some of the local governments that I know. And if it's done in one local government, I believe it's done in all the local governments. And I know that the RISEC also visited some of our traditional rulers by way of sensitization. So to that extent, they did their best, though their best may not be good enough for everybody because of the new normal. Most of us are not bought into the new normal of today. So they will not hold them to blame completely.
Okay, now we have another, comment here from Ijedon Epo. There are local government chairmen who don't know their left from right. Indeed, most of them think it's a settlement package. Only a few know that they should work hand in hand with their electorates. The National Orientation Agency should be given the mandate to reorientate these chairmen even as they come on board. Thank you. Say direction, sir. He said there are a lot of local government who do not know. They don't have any business being there. You know, it goes to confirm that compensation thing we are talking about. Do you agree with it?
We have to be fair to local governments, to some of these local government chairmen. For somebody to be thrown up as a local government chairman, I expect that he must have gone through party tutelage. In actual fact, enlightenment of political office holders is actually supposed to start from the party level. Look at what we see in other climes. In other places, I've said it during our last sitting here, that when you look at people like Jacob Zuma and Malema, they did not have, in fact, Malema went to school while he entered the parliament. Everything that Malema says today and everything that he does as the leader of opposition was learned from within the parties. So it's not a matter of having so much degree. That one is not the issue. But now the issue of education has been raised that they don't know next to nothing. That's why I'm saying that the parties have a responsibility, because once somebody is a party flag bearer, the mindset of the populace is that this man must have been a member of the party, he must have imbibed the ideology of the party, he must be ready to carry out the programs of the party. I'm talking about party politics generally, and that is one function of the parties where we have failed in terms of political education for their members. And so when we see some of these people just doing the way some of them do their things, we feel it is very painful. We feel very pained about it. Ordinarily, we expect that for somebody to head the local government, that person must be seized with enough information, that person is not just coming in, apart from party programs, is very clear on where he's going, on his direction, where he's going. So that is one thing that we cannot. So it's not only a function of the National Orientation Agency, but the parties are also there. The National Orientation Agency, they can do their own part, but now that elections are over, we expect that even civil society organizations, NGOs, should also take up this responsibility. Development partners should take up the responsibility of seeing to the organizing of, some of these retreats, some of this training for these elected officials of the councils.
Sorry to add to what you just said. In a nutshell, to be very frank, actually some of those that are elected as our representative at the third tier of governance at the local government are not supposed to be leaders. They are not worth being elected, if not for the affiliation to some leaders and political parties. Most of them don't know why they are elected. That's why you see apathy in participation in governance. One major key of good governance is public participation, and public participation has dwindled over the years because we elect people that just go there. They don't even go to their local government. Most of them that are elected today will not go to their local government. In fact, most of them that are living now, I doubt if they even went to their councils, to open their councils for people to interact with them. When you don't interact with them, how do you know the yearnings and the pains of your people? There's no way. They work from the oblivion. They work with the mindset of I'm chairman, everybody must be loyal. The loyalty syndrome in our society is causing so much pain in governance. Everybody wants to see only those that are loyal to him and be carried along.
Let me cut you in there. We have the comments are coming in. This one from Elisariaga, but it has been touched severally. What do you think about local government chairmen not residing in their local government. I think this issue has been talked about.
Please,
Let him address it.
I think that's what I was addressing.
Let me just take this comment before, for want of time, please. Then another person here, still in Tedo, said the leadership at the Totea is very poor. I employ the newly elected chairman to please steer their ship well, and they can only do this by living in their local government. You know, this one is also emphasizing on living in the local government, physical presence of the local government chairman.
My brother, before you continue, let me say this. I could remember vividly in the return of democracy in 1999, local government chairmen and councillors were elected. And then we didn't have this bank transfer syndrome. So there was a payday in the local government council. Every local government councillor was present, must be present in the council to take their salaries. Local government chairmen must be present in the council to take their salaries. By so doing, most of problems within the local settlement were settled. I don't know whether we should return back to that. I know it's going backward, but we need something that will make our people stay within their locality. Most of them don't stay in their locality. The governor of Rivers State has warned all the PDP aspirants and those that are elected that once they are elected, they should make sure they stay within their localities. They should not come and add to the overbearing population of Port Harcourt. I think I give kudos to him on that too. He should make sure, not just by saying that all the local government chairmen and their councillors reside within their localities. By so doing, they will feel the pulse of the people and solve their problems.
This issue has been really trash. Let's just take some. We have from Ebere, Ifoma Ezimoye. Is there a way to bring to light those local government leadership who has failed in their responsibility, as well as justice to be taken on them, so as to help future aspirants to understand the good, to understand the governance, governance for benefit of the people and not themselves. Another one here, still from the Tedeko, this one there, from Essenjo Mirisha Holiday. Citizen participation in electoral process is key. Yes, is key. At this point, let me take this question. It's very important. Now, the failure in the local government, the total system of government, is largely blamed on the autonomy. If you go out there now to the street and interview people, 8 out of 10 people will tell you that it's because the local government is not autonomy. Governors are tampering with their funds and all of that. State Director, sir, I want us to really address, is it true? Because apart from the autonomy, the cash given to them, the ones that are given to them, is it justified? Before we go to the autonomy issue, vis-a-vis the autonomy.
That is, in fact, you have asked the question and you have also answered it. Because that is where I wanted to start from. That the one that they are receiving, what is the impact in terms of performance, in terms of building public infrastructure, in terms of promoting the people's welfare? Because if you look at issues of welfare, issues of health, we have primary health care centers, we have primary schools, even though these ones are currently under the UP. But the local governments can also, from time to time, do some monitoring and supervisory visits to some of these primary and those under the basic secondary school. So, but what we are saying here, the question that you have asked, people are saying that it is the issue of autonomy. Well, the president came out in 2019 and came out with autonomy for local government areas based on the recommendation of the National Financial Intelligence Unit, and they were given autonomy. But there was an intervention by the state governors saying that for now, that autonomy, the way they are going about it, that autonomy cannot be given to them, that in fact it should be given time before it will be instituted fully. And that has given vent to the issue of people feeling that there is something opaque about how public funds are used at that level. But one thing I also know is that for us, because we are working within the context of Rivers State, the governor has come out more than once, not even more than twice, to say that he has no hand in local government funds. You know, part of the challenge that we have in giving him the benefits of the doubt, part of the challenge that we have is that people, citizens, hardly believe in what their government is telling them because of the performance ratio, because of the relationship between the citizens and their governments over time. But this is something that is in the public domain. The governor has said, look, hold them to account. I don't have any hand in their funds. So why can't we hold them to account? Why can't we hold them to account? And one of the ways, I keep saying it, the permanent voters card, that is the major instrument that every citizen has to hold a government account. Because after the tenure, parties will seek re-election. At that time, we should be able to make our statement. Secondly, citizens are also very docile. It is not enough. We have the open government partnership. These are tenets that are recognized everywhere globally. We have the Freedom of Information Act in our country currently. Why can't we, based on this, hold our government to account for the expenditures that are being made and for the incomes that are being received, even at the level of the local government areas? So what we are saying is that even the CSOs, because CSOs are the conscience of the nation, the CSOs, they should also be able to do their own job. But the situation where everybody is laid back, the citizens are made to feel that everybody is docile, nobody wants to ask a question. I've seen people saying that it is one-man show, which is debatable, is arguable, because we have 17 parties that contested the election. And for me, they have made a statement, even though not on equal strength, because we must also recognize the power of incumbency. But incumbency has also failed us in national elections. So what are we talking about? It is for the people to come out openly with courage and conviction and also contest what a particular government is doing or what government is doing at any level.
Comrade, let me take you on this. You know, there is a comment from Ebere, the former Ismail. Now, if you look at the activities of anti-corruption, this anti-corruption, ICPC, EFCC, they seem to pursue officers at the national level, governors after they have left office, and all that. But we don't see, it's not often, we don't see, you know, they pursuing local government chairmen after they have left office, or even because they don't even have immunity, or when they are serving. You hardly will see EFCC or ICPC coming after them. Why? In your opinion, why is this? Why is it that the focus is on state and national, and the state government, you know, these agencies are not focusing on them, they are not pursuing them?
On a lighter note, I think is basically maybe they feel their monies are small. On a lighter note, okay, just for fun anyway. Local governments, every local government, as I'm made to understand, has an EFCC office. And monies that are accruing to local governments are monies. I think civil societies need to wake up and be up and doing and ask questions, because they feel so relaxed. That leads me to public participation. They feel so relaxed. They feel that the local government is a tier that is not rich enough. But the monies that are accruing to local government, if you sum them up, they are quite huge. So I will plead with the EFCC and other anti-graft agencies to be up to their task by investigating local funds, because those are funds that are meant for the localities, and 70% of our of the population of this nation resides in the localities. So if those monies that are accruing to these localities are not properly used, I think the questions should be asked. If EFCC and ICPC is not up and doing, CSOs can force them to do the right thing.
We have a comment from Charles William Obara here. Local government administration should emphasize on providing for the needs of the people and not politicking with local government funds to settle their godfathers. Hence, we call for the need of local government autonomy and electronic voting system to correct some of these anomalies in local government system. Yeah, this is true. But for want of time, also there is the issue of knowing when to stop politicking. The elections are over now. Most local government officers do not know when to stop and settle for governance. It is politics all through. That in itself is a distraction, to the local government system. But for want of time, we are winding down. State Director, I want you at this point to a cashing word, one word. Very soon they'll be sworn in.
Well,
a word.
Well, let me say that elections have come and gone. What I expect those, because they are waiting in the wings to take over. Here the tenure is ending 15th June of the present. So what I expect is that before that time, that things certainly will be done. This is supposed to be a period of planning, and in doing this planning, I also expect that while they keep an open mind, they should also be circumspect. I'm saying this against the background that this is a time that technocrats, most times when we talk about accountability, we remove technocrats that are around them, civil servants that are around them. This is a time when civil servants usually come and then begin to tell them things. Look, don't worry, this is how we do it. Most times those technocrats are not held to account. We only hear when treasurers, when HPMs are suspended, but we don't get to hear the things that they do. But some of them, we have said here that the chairman, some of them, they know next to nothing. People are saying that, which I do not agree, which I say is arguable. But indeed, misdirecting them oftentimes come from these technocrats who tell them this is how we do it at local government level. Don't mind them. If you do it like this, if auditors come, we can cover you. In fact, if auditors come from the Auditor General's office of the local government, that certainly will settle them to do it this way or that way. So they should be circumspect. And it is also a time when civil servants come, meet the newly elected chairman, and begin to tell them a lot of wrong things about some of their colleagues. So they should be circumspect while they are open in the sense that it is a time for them to sit down with other newly elected councillors and with the leadership of the party, because you can't put the party away, to see how their programs can actually run.
Thank you, sir. Let me just take this last comment from Esanju Shadalidi. He said there is an urgent need for citizens to wake up to their rights if Nigeria is to move forward, and also for the leader to be effective. That's true. The docility is really too much. People should ask questions and then hold people accountable. Comrade Tony, one last word for the people. Very soon they will swear him and then they will settle for governance. One last word, one cashing last word for the people.
They should be up and doing. What stops a local government? What stops 3 or 4 local government coming together to set up businesses?
Yes.
What stops that?
Yes.
What stops? For example, we have Okrika, Ogbolo, Andoni, Boni. What stops them to set up fishing trolley businesses, while the other one does the packaging and all that? What stops Gokana, Tai, Eleme to set up major farms and maybe use one as where they will get their raw materials for them? Let there be a synergy, because after that, we are saying we have internally generated revenue, and internally generated revenue is high. Is quite vague, because once all these multinationals leave River State, we will truly know where our internally generated revenue is. So I would suggest that
this is where I'm sorry for the time is not on our side. Via, this is where we'll wrap it up. You heard, you don't just be docile, you vote, you ask questions, you participate. Civil society organization and other institution that needs to organize seminars, summit for these elected officers. And you that have, exercised your franchise, you have done your part. There's a need for you to hold the leadership accountable. There's a need for you to ask questions. These, are the things you ought to do to act to make the leadership effective at the grassroots level. This is where we thank everybody, viewers at home that participated. State Director, we thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Comrade Tony, we thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Security is everybody's business. If you see something, say something. COVID-19 is still very much around with us. And one of the most effective ways of preventing it is social distance. Thank you. Join us next week, same time, same day. It's for me, the anchor person, Abie Senebo. Bye bye.
Thank you.